And it says we're live.
Yep.
Let's see if y'all let us know in the comment section if we fired off live yet here. Anybody? See Dennis, Colleen, Tim. There's Mike O'Connor. See Dennis, Colleen, Tim. There we go.
Brad's Restoration.
Brad, yep.
Yep.
There's Lunar Brian.
There we go. Brad's Restoration.
So, Keith, right now, if you have that up, be sure and mute your any feed that you're looking at besides us. Right now, if you have that up, be sure and mute your
yep.
Any feed that you're looking at besides us. See if that works better.
Yep. Sorry about that.
Awesome. So I'm bringing Mr. Keith Noel. I call him Noel because I'm from Arkansas.
Right.
One of the top restoration guys in the United States. I promise you.
Well, at least in Eastern Iowa.
There
But you know, we get cars from all around the Midwest. So
yes,
yeah,
absolutely. And I wanted to bring you to my viewers, to anybody out there that hasn't seen you or subscribed. I know YouTube's got a small world. The algorithm is a funny thing, but if I could bottle up your knowledge and information, I would do it today and sell it for $1 million, man. You know a lot of stuff, and I'm super duper impressed by everything I see you do. So kudos to you, man.
Thanks. That's
absolutely
28 years of just trying to learn on my own, and the internet's really changed things. So it's great to share with everybody.
Yes, and thank you for kind of the help with Darren's car. I didn't even know where to start at with that broadcast sheet, but I was so excited that I found it because that was his high school car. You know, he drove that sheet around for that many years.
Right. And the mice never got to it or anything.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's amazing. And he said, and I just kind of I said, yeah, I found a piece of build sheet, and I handed him just a little scrap thing. He said, oh wow, that's a build sheet, and he got into it, and then he saw the real deal and was amazed. So that's awesome. We could decode it. And
so I've been decoding fender tags for years, and there's enough information out there that if I buy all the right books and know all the right people and stuff, fender tags are easy, but I'm still learning broadcast sheets, and every plant has a different generation of build sheet. And so I'm just learning how that works. So
right. Well, I definitely appreciate that. So I guess my first question is, one to the chat. Thank you to everybody. If y'all have questions, I'm going to try to keep up and post those for Keith or myself. But I wanted to ask Keith, you know, kind of how did you start into the business, and, you know, what made you Mopar Keith, I guess?
Well, so I actually did a video on YouTube not too long ago of just this exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
High school, bought a Jeep, traded it for a Barracuda, and hopped it up and got the bug that way. And went racing dirt bikes for a while, got out of cars. And after I broke up my body real bad, I figured 4 wheels was a lot safer. Then I started working for a shop that restored cars.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 90, 91, somewhere in there, and learned how to do like paint and body work. And we started working on old cars. And then in 1997, I started my own shop, restored a 69 Roadrunner, and just started taking it to shows and learning the show circuit. And after I showed that car around for a few years, I started getting my own work. And, you know, people would see the car and say, hey, how, you know, who did that? And I'm like, I did it. And, you know, it just slowly built it up that way. So,
awesome.
Yeah. And the building down the street from where I previously had worked was vacant, opened up my shop, and I've been in business all on my own for 28 years.
Wow. Well, I can definitely say I'm in the way, you know, baby early stages of what you just mentioned. Like, you know, we kind of mentioned it earlier before the live came on. Like, I started at home working on my own projects and stuff. And, you know, YouTube's done that for me, is that somebody saw me work on something and said, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you build me an engine? Can you paint my car? Can you do it? Okay,
Right.
sure. Like,
So
I kind of,
what was your first Mopar?
oh man, I had a couple at the same time. It was weird because my dad was a mechanic and a true Mopar guy. I think he graduated high school in 78 or 79. So he was like in the heyday of Mopars that you could buy them, $1,500 on the side of the road. Some guys, he had a Superbird and he had all these several Challengers and stuff. Um, so I think let me see. I ended up with a long bed 79 D150 that we 360 swapped. And it was an old farm truck out of the side of the road or whatever. And I think I burned the transmission up in it. So my dad was wheeling and dealing with people and ended up, he traded for a Shelby Charger, 86 Shelby Charger with a turbo four cylinder. It only had the first four gears, missing fifth gear, and he'd let me drive it up down the gravel road, and
So that was a 2.5 then.
uh,
So the non-turbos were 2.2s and the turbos were 2.5s, I believe.
I really can't remember. I know it
Yeah.
burned a quart of oil every time I filled it up with gas.
Sweet.
So it went away very quickly. And then I got my 77 D100 that I drove to high school. So everything fell into place for me because then I had an actual, kind of a cool truck. We did a quick paint and body job on it and stuff. And
so is that the one that you race now, or is that a different Dodge 100 or 150?
So I did race my original high school truck, and I had it on the channel some right at the very beginning. But kind of after my dad passed, my brother and I ended up with so many cars. I had a 70 CUDA bracket car that was a full tube chassis car we pulled out of the weeds. I had a 72 Demon at the same time, 383 car that I bought from a guy. I had my black truck then, and my dad passed and left me a 72 Swinger, and he's got a 67 Barracuda notchback. That's actual nice tube chassis car. So my brother has it now, and I've still got my dad's Swinger. And all this stuff was snowballing on me, and I'm like, I don't really drive that black truck any. I'm gonna go ahead and let it go. So I sold my high school truck then, and I found the old blue truck. A guy called me and said, "Hey, there's an old blue truck there in the field. I see Tall John's in here. I've got his rear end in it now, 410 chunk." And I bought the truck for nothing and just kind of built it out of leftover parts from my race car and everybody else. Darren's red Barracuda that we saw, it has his electric fan, his radiator, his fuel pump. Like we turned his car, we brought it back to a street car. And he said, yeah, that other stuff coming out of there, there's unfinished project called, it's the lunch break truck. That's what I named it because I don't hardly ever get any time to work on it, except, on my lunch break today, I'll work on this. And I'll spend an hour or so, and then I go back to somebody else's project because I got a few irons burning right now. So
that's kind of like my cars is we're so busy in the shop, I can't even get my own car in the shop. But I'll work on it like, I don't know, once a month, it seems like. And it's like the lunch break truck or car. It's like, well, I got about 4 hours. I might go sand on a fender. And then, it's like a month later before I touch it again.
Yeah. And it's super. I mean, I know that, like, it's very difficult trying to do body and paint stuff to work on, sand the fender down to bare metal and you leave it. Like that dude's got to be in primer. It's super humid here, and
so I've actually kind of come up with a technique to combat that. We used rust mort or metal ready from SEM, and Chris and I have used that on some cars, and they've sat for like 4 months. Not outside, of course, but they've sat for like 4 months. It gets pretty humid here in Iowa too, and it will not flash rust.
That's awesome.
So we've run into that exact same thing. Is like, well, this car, whether it's money or time or whatever, if it has to sit for a while, we just hose it down with this phosphoric acid, and it could sit and not flash rust. So do you use something like that down there? Or?
Yeah, so I definitely stole that straight from you. I saw it on a TikTok video where you had applied it and stuff. I want to buy that product and try it. So I did Darren's Barracuda with it. And had good results because it was July or August or something. I was stripped that panel off bare metal, and come by and walk through and whatever. And also like, man, I could literally see this thing starting to try to gather just that real
If
brown.
you like, if after you touch it, let's say you just touch it with your fingers and come back like 3 days later, you can see your fingerprints. It's like CSI. You could see your very exact fingerprints. So that's how bad the oils and the salts are in our hand.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I want to catch up on some comments.
Oh, sure.
Yes, sir. Someone had asked, how's the weather treating me? Because Arkansas has been getting hammered lately. Multiple tornadoes, super heavy rain. I think we're about 10 inches of rain now or more in the last 3 days. I'm fine. Currently, one half of my road is a foot underwater. I can't get out that way. The other half, I think, has 6 or 8 inches, so I can make it through there. Yeah, there's lots of good stuff here. I'm sorry if I hadn't welcomed everybody, but this is Keith Noel from Noel Automotive. If you're just getting here, whatever. But I see I can't even name everybody. Everybody's here. That's awesome. 72 people in right now.
Nice.
Their granddad. He's one of my members. High humidity. Yep, he's in New Zealand. Granddad's junk. I always thought that was funny. And
is it real humid in New Zealand?
Yep, that's what he's looking at here. Same problem here. High humidity.
Man.
And the Dougsters here. Look at there. Yeah, that's awesome. One of your cars, Keith, I noticed and I laugh at every time. It's either a Charger or satellite or something, but it's like your really rusty snow car.
Yeah. So actually, I got a picture right here. So I'll show you real quick. And I'm working on a YouTube video for it. We called it General Lou, and it's a '68 Charger. She was super rusty. I bought it for dirt cheap, and I put it together with just a bunch of leftover used parts, and we called it General Lou, or some people called it the Snow Charger. And I just beat the living daylights out of that thing. It was just a 2-barrel 383 car. I threw some RT badges on it. It started in the coldest of weather. I put a manual choke on it and put a brand new heater core in it, and it had awesome heat. It would start like below zero. And since it was so rusted out, I was able to put 31 1050 mud and trail studded tires on it. Nice. And that thing with the sure gripper end, it would go anywhere. I never did get it stuck. Now, in some of the videos, it looks like I got stuck, but I just lost my momentum, and I was able to just rock it back and forth. And when that thing would dig down into the dirt, I never did get it stuck. Unfortunately, I did sell it.
Oh man!
Someone wanted it more. Someone wanted it more than I did, so I ended up selling it for a pile of money. Kind of maybe like 5 years ago or so, when you really started to see the second gen Chargers reach a peak at their cost or the price. I just let it go. Plus, I was chasing other cars too, so this one didn't really have a lot of sentimental value to it, but it was definitely cool. I kind of regret selling it, but I've got some better cars now too.
Yeah. So. I don't think you can be a true Mopar guy unless you have more than one classic Mopar.
It's the way of the world. So you talk to a Chevy guy or a Ford guy, and they've got one car, or they've got, a Pontiac and a Camaro or something like that. You talk to a Mopar guy, and I think it comes from finding parts. So there used to be no parts for these cars. So if you wanted to build a 70 Barracuda or a 69 Dart or whatever, you had to go buy a parts car. And then we just started getting more and more parts cars to build a car. And then it just it's like doing, doing a drug or drinking or something. You get addicted and you just want more and more and more. So yeah, every Mopar guy owns more than one. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm never looking for another car, but I'm always kind of looking for another car.
They find you. I mean, they just literally will fall into your lap and they just find you.
That's how my blue truck was. The lunch break truck was. The guy texted, yeah, this old truck's out here. It's kind of like your old black truck if you want to look at it. And he sent me a picture. It was a 72 D100 slant 6, 3 on the tree. And the body was perfect. The grill was perfect. Everything on it was perfect. It was covered in pine sap, and it was like a baby blue color. Had white rim, the white dog dish rims, and original hubcaps on it even. That's somebody's grandpa's old truck or something out there,
Right.
you know. By the time I got there, somebody had backed the tractor into the left front fender, caved in the fender, caved in the grill and the hood, the bird bath hood. I'm like, man, it was so perfect for all these years, and it took some dipstick, you know, to
You
go
hit
through
it
and
so
do it.
hard it crushed the hood.
Yeah, it literally dented where that flat, like 1 inch thick crease is. It bent it in like that, so I kind of hammered it back out. But for the
Yeah.
most part, I found another grill from an old Vietnam veteran. An old bumper I had on my other truck. I just left the front fender as it was and kind of pulled it away from the door so the door opens easily, but the rest of it is like 90% rust free. And then I swapped in my 400 and 727 410 Sure Grip.
Yeah.
So it's a fun truck now. But
So what do you have in the shop right now? I mean, obviously you have some customer stuff. We know about the Nightmare Charger, but do
oh
you
yeah.
have anything of your own that
So hiding in the background, I just put out a short. I got to say this for I just started the membership thing, and I had to do a short for my members, so they actually know the secret that's going on in the background. But as for myself, I've got a couple engine modifications coming for the lunch break truck and for my purple car, 68 Barracuda Fastback. That's my actual bracket car that I love to race. Got a 512 in it, and I'm trying to be 5 Second Joe this year. So if you see the guy with the Apocalypse channel name, he commented under some of your stuff the other day.
I did see that 5 Second Joe. If something
Yeah,
about you have to retard your timing by -1 to slow you down or something like that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So and then I guess my baby that's hiding back there from a couple of years ago, I've got a 70 Challenger that I built Vanishing Point clone car. And that was kind of my dad and I, that was like our last trip before he passed away. We went and got that car from Middle Missouri, and it was rotted to the bone. I think I got it for $1,200, but it had a title, and it was the body of like a hull of a car. And I'm like, I think I can fix this car. You're crazy as hell. It needs every piece of metal on it, whatever. Like, I'm gonna figure it out. So originally I went through and paid a guy. I bought all the quarters and stuff. They were, I think, Dyno quarters. The rest of it was AMD stuff. It needed all the rear subframe, basically everything but a firewall and the doors and top of the car has been replaced. And I paid a guy to kind of do that. And they patched it, sheet metal screwed it, booger welded it, and bondoed it. They had a 1/4 inch thick bondo down each side of the trunk rails, gutters, so it would close up the trunk gaps.
Oh man.
And it was like, I just paid, I don't know what it was, $1,500, $2,000. And I just went and got my car. Like, man, I'm going to figure this out. I took it all apart and I started lining stuff up and measuring, and kind of like I'm doing the Nightmare car. Like,
Yep.
it's not so bad. The stuff, a lot of it fits together easily. Other stuff was kind of difficult, but it was a learning curve. So there's Mitchell. Yeah, he said Kowalski lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that kind of where you got I saw one of your logos as a Challenger.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah,
cars that's close to your heart.
Yeah. Yeah. So my wife and I got married in that car. And I had an old 413 from an RV in it at the time. And
Did it have Did it have truck heads on it? Or
it did. I took them off. I put some closed chamber, I think the 63 model closed chambers that have it's the rocker shafts that mount on the pedestal mounts with them, the aluminum pedestals.
Yeah, those are the older ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I had, and they were in good shape. So it gave me a little closed chamber there. I just put it on the old 413 and a way too big of a cam sort of deal. And it was nice. The car had 276, 7 1/4 rear end at the time.
Did you blow that thing out?
I did. I got to destroy it on, and I was going for a test drive down the road here, and as I was rolling, I dropped it in second and popped a clutch, and it basically sheared that little the little pin in the back. It came out and started
Yeah,
eating away.
those things are slant six only. I mean, those things are just worthless. I
Yep.
blew one out on my wife's dart. She had a 73 dart, and same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We just destroyed it.
Yeah.
So, you
So,
want to answer any questions here? I see a lot of people coming in here.
yeah. Anything you let's see, almost time. How
Here's
Chevy?
one, Eddie Gray. Don't you have an e-body with an interesting color combo? So I have a 71 Challenger. Have you seen that car, Joe?
I
My
think so.
71 Challenger, the
It was
Citron yellow.
on TikTok,
Yeah,
right? But it has
yeah.
one panel that's the green, and
It's
was
all
it you
primered
strip
up and
wood or you?
stuff.
Yes, yeah,
Yep. Citron yellow rubber bumper car,
okay,
black vinyl top, black interior. So I think that maybe answered that guy's question.
yeah.
Yeah, e-body with the interesting color combo. Citron yellow, 71 color only. Yep.
Wow. Fashion Point triggered that bulldozer into becoming killdozer later on.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Here we go. So unfinished projects. One of my, I was going to say admins. I'll think of it in a minute. He's put your link up. So if y'all haven't already checked out Keith's channel, if you click on that at any point in time, come back to it. You can find his channel, and if you like his stuff, subscribe. I don't ever say, please go subscribe. Like, I don't have to beg people to subscribe to you, man. Like, they either want to know about Mopars or they don't, and that's cool. Like, it's on
Yeah, I
them.
usually don't talk about Chevys and Fords. So if you're a Mopar
Right.
or muscle car guy, check it out. We do everything. We do interiors, paint, engines. Just mostly Mopar though.
Mm-hmm. Here's one you can take if you'd like. I don't believe in this this drama here, but it says why are B bodies superior to A bodies?
I don't know. It's kind of like the chopping block is E, which is Challenger and Cuda. They're always at the top of the food chain, and then B bodies, and then A bodies, and I don't know. It's just kind of the price structure of them. What's more rare? What's more desirable? So no car is really more superior. We got a 69 Dart in here right now, a 340 car. I love it. I've owned Darts before. They're fun cars. It's just kind of the price structure. What's in high demand. Everybody wants a 71 CUDA, right? But
Yeah.
so yeah, it's
Yeah.
just personal preference.
Well, I say that was Bigfoot's and Mopars. He's on a couple B bodies, and we're supposed to race every year at No Name Nationals, and he keeps avoiding me every year. He talks the big game online, and then he never shows up for But he's always around. He's a good guy.
Yep.
Darren's commented, said, "Thank you, Keith, for decoding
Oh
my
yeah.
very."
So maybe you can answer this, Joe. So it's called Blake's Muscle Car, but it's Darren. Does he work for other people, or is that his shop, or
Yeah,
what's
that's his last name, Darren Blake.
Oh, okay, makes sense then. Sorry. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been watching his low oil pressure 426, and they're about ready to put it on the dyno, and they're looking for a spacer plate or something. So I'm waiting to see that thing dyno.
So it did actually dyno.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't want to spill all the beans because
we'll wait for the video. I'll watch it.
Yeah. So I think he may have put one out earlier today. I know we've been talking back and forth today. But yeah, definitely check it out whenever you get time.
Okay. Once I subscribed, I try to pick up a little bit of each of his videos that he puts out. And now, do you guys use the same machine shop or the same dynamometer, or what's the deal there?
Yeah, so he went to my dyno place in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. It's Kuntz and Company. So they're basically a well-known machine shop from years back, and they did a lot of Ford stuff. So they were popular in the Ford world, and then they've kind of combined with Gwatney Performance, which is based out of Jacksonville, Arkansas, and they're known for LS stuff. So now they really focus. I think they have a naturally aspirated LS record for the United States out of that little shop there, but it's not so little now. They've got a chassis dyno, and they've got a bunch of employees. so I'm kind of, my buddy and I, he had a really nice 1100 horsepower Hemi, Gen 2 Hemi 572. He got me hooked up with him and said, yeah, I'll bring my big blocks over there. And because I've never dynoed anything before. Now I've got 3 or 4 done, and I've got another one coming. So Darren
It's
got a
scary
hold
to
of him.
have an engine dynoed for the first time, isn't it?
It really is.
Yep.
Absolutely. Let's see.
So the first
we got
one
a super chat.
Yeah, the first one I had on a dynamometer, I put it together myself, and I was just like cringing. I'm just like, God, I hope the rods don't come through the side of the block. And yeah. It's kind of scary at first.
I know that whole day they did like 35 pulls on my first engine I brought there, and I was just like,
jeez,
man. But
like the other thing is going to be wore out before you even get to use it.
I know
35 pulls on it.
Yeah. Well, I brought 3 different intakes. I had a tunnel ram with dual 4s, and I was wanting to try all these different tests to make some content with, and build up. And at the end of the day, he said, no one's ever brought in glass packs and put on a dyno. Why are you running glass packs? And I said, well, I thought we needed an O2 bung, and that was the only extension I had with O2 bung. And he's like, run it like that, whatever. And at the end of the day, I'm like, let's just take them off and see what happens. And it picked up like 12 or 15 foot-pounds and 4 or 5 horsepower. But it's always, people swear a 16-inch collector extension is going to, rule the world for you. Like it's going to raise all your numbers at the drag strip and everything just to have that little bit of pipe. And that was in my mind. Like they said it on TV, so it's got to be true,
Well, like Engine Masters or something, or what'd you see that on?
Oh yeah. Engine Masters tested, everything from 4 foot down to 4 inches or something in an episode.
Right.
And all those kind of places I take notes and kind of try to pull from everybody that I can. But I was going to say, thanks to Purpose is Everything. He gave me a $10 super chat. So that's cool. Cave Dave says, hey, Noel.
Hey,
let's see if I'm missing somebody. I know there's been a lot of questions and stuff. John Wilburn's told me before, when you're on a live, the comments roll through so fast. I'm like,
I see Old McDonald said that the rods only come out on the side on a Chevy, and Mopars just spin the rod bearings. I don't know. I tell you what, I put a rod through the side of a 340 block.
Wow.
And it wasn't a numbers matching car or anything like that, but it came loose. And it sounded like glass. If you've ever been driving a car or racing a car, when the engine literally explodes, it sounds like dropping a bunch of glass on cement. I don't know why, but it happened to me. So not a fun day.
I guess my only blow up ever in that 70 CUDA bracket car I had, I built a 408, and it was a Eagle cast crank in that engine, Eagle rods, and I think KB pistons or something. So that was one of my first performance builds. I was probably 20 or 21, and my dad helped me and go through, and I found man, I want to go a little bit faster. So I put the 150 shot on it and whatever, and spray it 4 or 5 times. And then I come back next weekend and I'm bracket racing, and I'm just driving the car, and I can feel it just I'm wide open. My foot's down, and I'm crossing the 8th mile, and we come back around the car won't start. Get it home. It broke the crank journal in half between, I guess, 3 and 4 there, which seems like a wild place to break to me. But I heard a lot of bad stuff about those Eagle cast stroker cranks of that era.
Sure.
I don't know if that's improved or not, but it soured me enough not to buy another one. So
right. Do you think it was because it was a cast crank and not a steel?
I guess, but
or forged, I mean.
Right. But in my original dyno video series, I built a 406, 400. It was actually a 405 point whatever. But it was stock cast crank. And it made 535 on the dyno. And people said, oh, you're going to blow it up. You're going to blow it up. I put it in my race car. I sprayed it probably 20 times with a 150 shot. I pulled it out. It's in the lunch break truck now. I can't hurt that truck. That engine, it runs great. Ed did a lot of work on that. Ed's machine here. So it's got his good balance job and stuff on it. But Yeah, it's still running. So I think maybe just if the new Chinesium stuff is made out of old beer cans, it's just not holding up, I guess.
Right. So are Eagle products built overseas or?
I'm fairly sure they are. If they're not marketed that way, uh, in my mind they are. But they and don't get me wrong on that. I love 440 source stuff, and people will throw rocks at me about that. But I, every crank I get from them, they have their own manufacturer of cranks that's overseas. But basically, they went behind a name brand company and made dealings or whatever of, hey, can you make us cranks and you sell direct to us instead of sell to Scat or sell to Molnar or whoever and then sell to us. So they just cut out the middleman so they can get stuff like that now.
I see. Yeah,
They
pretty much everything is made overseas.
Yeah,
it's
pretty much
terrible.
And I've got several deals. I don't know if I've ever told you this, Keith. So, if you like Harlan Sharp stuff, like I've got a deal with Harlan Sharp. Basically, if you call and talk to Randy Jr. and mention my Mopar channel, he'll give you like a flat discount on Harlan Sharp rockers. And there's been, I don't know if there's been 100 people, but there's been a lot of people call, and he's helped me out with stuff for my builds. Sent me stuff and whatever that, hey, use it on your channel, show it in videos and all that. And like, it's kind of a sponsorship between us, but he doesn't pay me any money. I said, I need product. I race my cars. I need nice rockers. I'll fix you right up, like Fire Core Performance, same thing. Rick over there, we don't know if you can call, they have their own, programmable distributor, basically, that it's sort of like the old direct connection style, I was told, that has a plate that you can actually spin to set your mechanical advance in.
Okay.
So, like FBO, you can put an FBO plate in, but you have to pull your whole distributor apart. This deal is it has 2 Phillips screws. You find them, you turn them, you set them, and then they give you like 3 different sets of springs you can pop right in to set your advance curve. So I've got a Mopar Joe deal with them as well. So any viewers, anybody like that. And then recently I did one with KBS Coatings. So I don't know if you use any of their stuff.
I actually have, and if Chris, my body guy, is watching, we just did some big block manifolds with those. It's supposed to be the good stuff. We used to use Pour 15, and I had some manifolds that just turned out it just flaked off. It was crap. And we started using the KBS stuff. Good luck so far. Yeah. Yeah.
So if I can actually send you the link, but they text me and said, like, thanks for doing a product review. I did I painted a couple engines with it on my channel and did like a how-to, drying the block out and degreasing and every step. And they're like, thanks so much. Here's a discount code for your viewers. So I think it takes 15% off your order at the end. So it's, they didn't have to do that. I didn't solicit that and say, please give my people stuff. Like, I like my people and I want them to have nice stuff, but they just kind of did that for us. So
I see.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I did a lead brakes. You ever use lead brakes on anything?
I have not.
They do disc brake conversions.
Okay.
So I don't have any affiliation with them or anything, but I posted a how-to video. We did a 64 Fury. And every time I post a video about brakes, they always find me, and they kind of, we give each other a shout out. But I don't have any product endorsements or anything like that. So I don't know.
I understand. I mean, it just anything that comes along my way, I like to try out. There's been other. It was like, have you ever heard of Miller Ignition?
Maybe not.
It's a fairly new deal, but they and I'm gonna highlight this question before I lose it. He was building boxes for Mopars that were kind of had the exact shape, and you could wire them right in. And I kind of went quickly and showed that. I put it on my blue truck. The truck ran 5 minutes and it died. And I'm like, man, I've already made a video talking. I was like, wow, this is really cool. And they sent it to me, and I'm excited about it. And it kind of.
You lost spark. The box burned up right away.
Yes, yeah, the truck
Oh,
started and ran, and it was, oh, that revs great, and then it died, and then we're like, well, it's getting fuel, it's getting air, it's not sparking. Maybe the coil went bad. No, it wasn't the coil, it was the box. So uh, there's a question that's more for you there because I have no idea. How rare is the rubber bumper option?
uh, fairly rare. So there is, they made it for 70 and 71 on Plymouth. And so they have two different versions for the Plymouth Cuda. And on 71 Challenger, that was the only year they made it for Dodge. And they only built it for impact colors. So like kind of like you see in the back here, like Sublime, orange, Citron yellow. For 71 Challenger, it's super rare. So to find bumpers for that, it's really hard. Now that Tommy the Kryko, he does reproduction bumpers for CUDA, and he's supposedly going to come out with a reproduction bumper for the Challenger. But yeah, they're pretty rare. So a lot of people clone it, just like there's more Hemi clones than actual ever existed. And so you see a lot of rubber bumper cars out there, and it's mostly because reproduction. But pretty rare to have a rubber bumper car. And also with Plymouth or CUDA, you could get it with front rubber bumper and a chrome rear bumper, or you could get it with both rubber bumpers, front and rear. And with Dodge, for the 71 model year only impact colors, it was both bumpers. You couldn't get it the same way as a Plymouth. And then also another unique thing is that Plymouth, the code for rubber bumpers was A21 or A22, and it was on the fender tag and on the build sheet. But for Dodge, once again, it was just more rare, just more weird. It was never on the fender tag. It was only on the build sheet. So the only way to prove that your Challenger was born with rubber bumpers is to have the build sheet. And also, how you've heard of people faking tags, putting in wrong options that didn't exist. And there's just a slew of fake tags out there. If you ever see a 71 Challenger or a 70 Challenger with a rubber bumper code on the fender tag, it's absolutely fake. So, wow. But yeah, to answer the question is, there's no numbers on like how many were made, but rubber bumpers are rare and way, way rare with 71 Challengers. Also, they did make rubber bumpers for 71 Roadrunners and 71 Chargers, also extremely rare.
Yeah. Let's see. I think you had a good question for him. See if I can pull it up before I try to read it here. There we go. Anyone able to name the colors behind me? I just saw Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage come in. He should know all these real quickly. Had a couple. Colleen said butterscotch. Is there a butterscotch?
Yep, 70 and 71 color. So we built this display board. Now I go do some big Mopar events that I sponsor, and I built another paint display chart like this. And Chris and I just basically take like a metal spray out card, and we'll do a whole bunch of spray outs. And I tried to make one that was just primarily impact colors or the most common colors. Since we paint cars, we go to a show, and like the first question everybody asks is like, oh, what about B5 blue or Go Mango or all these colors, and people always want to talk about the paint names, the paint codes, what they look like. And so we just kind of made this paint display with the most popular colors. And I have another one like that, but they're pretty large and heavy. But it's always about the Chrysler names of the colors and which name is Citron yellow is the Dodge name, and Curious yellow is the Plymouth name. And so that's always a thing. And I'll still get tripped up on which is which and what years the colors are, but yeah, it's fun.
Oh yeah, and I may be the one Mopar channel where somebody ask me a color code or something. I'm like, I kind of remember it. I have to look it up, but I told you earlier.
It's easy enough to look up the numbers and stuff, and some people know every single part number or code by heart. I still don't, but yeah, I love looking at fender tag codes. and checking
Yeah.
part numbers and stuff. But yep, rubber CUDA bumpers.
Yeah. So D YouTube channel said, can you talk about brake upgrades for a 72 to 80 half-ton trucks with a 5 on 4.5 bolt pattern, please? For me, I've never upgraded from factory. I just always ran the stock stuff and was happy. But do you know anything on that? Is there kind of a magic interchange that somebody could bolt on, and it'd be like the cheat code of here it is kind of deal?
No, that's kind of not my deal on that one.
Right. Yeah, they'll have to check out some of these other.
You got any other questions you want, or?
Okay, yeah, I had a really good one for you from me. Since while I got you cornered on here, have you ever had any big auction cars? Like you do meet them or do anything like that? Do you have any have sold?
We did one car, and I don't know where all the cars that I've done, where they've all gone, but we did build one car that was built for Mecum auction. Like the customer intended to just build it and sell it. It was a 68 GTX 444 speed car in red, and they took it to auction, but it didn't sell, and they ended up selling it privately. But me and my friend and my wife, Kathy, and then my friend Mike, we really like to go to Mecum auctions. We've been to several, and we're planning to go to more. In fact, the Mecum auction in Indianapolis is coming up in May, and I try to keep an eye on the prices and the cars and stuff. And I do have a customer that's kind of entertaining the idea of selling his car at a Mecum auction, but we haven't got confirmation on that. So how do you find the original color without the fender tag? Well, if the car hasn't been stripped, you can always, pull the windshield out or pull the carpet up and find out what color it is. But if the car's been stripped or repainted or sandblasted and the original color is gone, the only way to know is by the fender tag or the build sheet. The best place to find the paint or unmolested paint is if you pull the windshield out. The windshield frame will always have that brand new original paint. But once again, if the car's been blown apart or wrecked or repainted, sometimes it's hard to find out the color. And Chrysler has no record of that. So it's just a guesstimation on how many, yellow cars were made.
Yeah. Well, I'll say I can give you a one I found the other day on the Nightmare Charger. I'm trying to clean out that rocker. It was so full of, and I spotted it was the insulation from the headliner that was literally filled with that rocker, like rats or something had taken that insulation and shoved in there. There's a little little plastic cap right on the front behind the front tires. I'm not sure what that area is called. I popped
just
the
splash shield area, but yeah, it's just, and real quick, all the rubber plugs on those cars is made for drains. When they dip the cars in primer, all the plugs in the cars and all the factory holes are made to drain the primer. But anyway, so you found some original, what was the color?
PP1.
Okay, so red. It's red, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And that's what I'm like. I can't get away from red cars. I've painted 2 on the channel now, and the other was a 65 Cornet. I'm not even sure that color code, but I had taken a trunk bolt out and sent off, and they sent me back a gallon of paint that matched beautifully. It was amazing how close they got that.
So what kind of paint have you been spraying? What brand?
That was actually on the 65 was just kind of an off brand. I think it was like paintforcars.com or something. and the guy, every job I get is differing. I guess the customer has different wants or needs, whatever. So that guy,
everyone has a separate budget, so you can't always use the best paints.
And that's so that's kind of his deal. He wanted, man, what can you find me for cheap, and all that. But on Darren's car, I used Omni base coat, which I guess is PPG's track line or whatever, their shop line, excuse me. And then it was I think Master Pro or I'll think of the name of the clear, maybe Impact Clear. But I have a body shop mentor that really, actually I have two, that really helped me out on stuff. And he said, this stuff is like beautiful, high glamour clear. It's half the price of normal stuff. And he's been spraying it and using it for the last 3 or 4 years. He said, go ahead and try it. The blue truck that I shot on the channel, it was all Nason stuff. And I really liked the Nason clear, how it laid. It was like a light blue metallic paint. And I had a little bit of problems with tiger striping and stuff, just being an amateur, you know. But otherwise, if you said go buy one now and pick it, I would have chose Nason recently, but it was almost 4 times the cost, you know. And that was that.
Right.
And that was with my little, you know, discount that they give me for being a shop or whatever.
Yeah. I see someone mention Nick's Garage. Do you ever watch Nick from Canada?
Yeah. He commented a long time ago. I did a 413 build on the channel, and he commented and said, wow, like great build. I've never, at the time, he's like, I never had a 413 on my dyno yet, but I'd love to have one or something. So and it was under his original name, like Nick Panaritis or Panaritis.
Yep, it starts with a P. I know. I saw. I did a series of videos on a brown Challenger RT, and one day I was just reading through the comments or something, and I saw his name, and I'm like, no way, Nick watches me.
Right.
So I guess, without sounding weird, he's kind of a hero to me. He knows way more than you and I will ever know. He's just like, I don't know, he's way up there. So I love watching Nick. And the guys that put his videos together are pretty cool too. So yeah, Nick's Garage, it's good stuff.
I had poked fun at that a while back of saying I don't even have a cool announcer guy or anything, you know. Like,
right.
Yeah. Today on Nick's Garage, we're gonna turn the world over. But.
Yep. And he gets a Hemi. He's probably got like 10 Hemis there at any given time. Yep. He's always doing that. He works on Chevy stuff too. I've seen some Chevy motors on the stand. So,
yeah. Here was one from Rooster. I don't know if you saw it. I'd love to find somebody that can tell me why 69 Fury 318 has a big W on the intake. No one knows why, even Dave Wise. He's asked me that before. I have no idea.
I don't know. Maybe Tom from Rocket would know something like that. He knows a lot of that weird information like that. So I don't know. Maybe Jamie would probably know something like that too. He knows like casting dates and everything like crazy.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of JJ DeBoss? He's from the corner of Arkansas. He was on Street Outlaws.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Kind of crazy loudmouth guy. But one of his funny sayings is that real recognizes real, you know. So they like, you know, Tom or Jamie or whoever, like, you know, in my mind, they're legit. I mean, you see qualified people that know stuff and know people and, you know, can communicate with each other. You know, that I called Jamie this past week about the Charger deal. I was like, man, can you send me pictures? Right. He's like, well, it's funny. There's like 5 Chargers around here and I'm not buying any of them right now. I could have sent you a picture right then. And that was before you did the video of all the measurements and everything that I needed. Exactly. So I got that one saved. That was perfect.
Rick Ehrenberg. So he's the one that would know about your brake. That other question about the brake bolt pattern or the wheel bolt pattern. Ehrenberg, he used to write for like Muscle Car Action or Mopar Action. So I see that's one of the questions in there or comments. So Ehrenberger, yep.
Let's see. 4 piston calipers. Do B or A body brakes, would they fit on a truck in order to put wheel woods on it? I have no idea.
Clint Eastwood, that's another Ehrenberger question.
Yeah, a man's got to know his limitations, and I don't know that.
Yeah. What big Mopar events have you gone to, or what's around Arkansas that's like Mopar only?
So around Arkansas, we have Mopars at Mocan. I think right there on the edge of Missouri and Kansas. It's about 4 hours from my house. I'd like to go, and I need to make a bigger effort to. I always end up to do a 4 hour trip. I basically need to stay the night somewhere,
Right.
you know, and just with my family stuff and everything else. I got to abandon something to go do that. So if it throws the whole world off, I probably won't do it. We have a good one, Centerville, Arkansas. They have a racetrack and swap meet here, and they'll do a bracket race for anybody that pull. If you drive up with a Mopar, you can race it. So they'll have a class for you, and it's a lot of fun. And then just small car show and swap meet there. I'm going to try to go to Moparty this year. That is my. It's probably closer to me. I think 5 or 5.5.
Yeah, Bowling Green.
Yep, Bowling Green. Yep. And I think Coach he'd go to that one, and Indy swap meet. If I could ever go to that would be cool to check out. And
yeah, we had a great time at the Indy swap meet this year. It was real fun. We spent a couple days there just walking around and talking to people.
Yeah.
So
what was that? The big engine event, or the big it's not SEMA, it's the other one. The guy at my dyno shop invited me to go with them this year. It was in December. PRI, excuse me. So at PRI
the show, yeah.
Yeah. So they set up a booth there. And yeah, you come on with us, and boom, there we go. Mopar 84's got it. Yeah, there we go. So I may can try to go to PRI. I was invited to go with them. They could get me in, and I could walk around and film, and maybe make some friends and influence people, let's say.
Yep. You see any? So someone asked, Twisted Mopar Garage, what's been your hardest car that you've had to build? I'm gonna say we had a 70 Charger in here once, and it got hit really hard in the rear. And it was years and years ago. It was probably maybe the first 10 years that I was in business. And I really stay away from really wrecked cars. They're just so bent up. And it was a rust-free car, but it was just twisted. And the customer and I we came to a mutual agreement. And we just basically gave up on the car. It was just so twisted. Nothing was ever going to fit.
Right.
And between my efforts and his budget, we just quit on the project. And me and that guy, we're still friends. So it wasn't like a falling out or anything, but it was just a really twisted up car. And he just went in a different way. So, yeah. But yeah, 70, a wrecked car that, when the cars are wrecked, there's so many unforeseen things until you like totally put the car together. So I try to stay away from cars that have been like slid sideways into a telephone pole or rolled. Yeah. So yeah, that's the hardest car that I've ever had. And honestly, it never got finished. So
yeah, let's see. I just saw a good one pop up. Where'd we go? I want to race. Oh, what's your favorite car and your favorite motor to build?
So is that for me or you?
I'm sure it's for you.
So I'm not the accomplished engine builder like you are. I have another machine shop. I have another machine shop do my machine work, and I just put them together. And I've done a couple stroker engines, and they're of course more difficult, but I just build stock engines. So I like doing 340s, 383 440s. I usually, when it comes to a 426, I have the machine shop just build it. He's done several. In fact, we just had him do another 426 build, and it's going into a tribute car, and you're going to see some videos of that coming up. The engine's done. So I like all the engines, but the easiest ones to build are honestly just 3D3s and 440s. It's just like standard, you could almost just put them together in your sleep, gap the rings, measure the bearings, pre-lube it, throw it together, and they just run. And what was the other question? The coolest car?
Yeah.
Um,
What was your favorite car?
so I do have one. Besides my original Roadrunner that I built here at the shop, the one that I'm really kind of taking all to all the shows right now is a black AAR. So we're having a lot of fun with that. I've done several videos on it. It's been to some big shows, and this year we're going to take it to the Chryslers at Carlisle,
Hmm.
and we're going to be at an indoor display for Trans Am cars. So
Nice.
that's going to be a special deal. And then we're going to go to the Music City Mopar show, which is over in Lebanon, Tennessee.
Hmm.
Um, so my favorite car by far, and it was just a combination of a super rare, awesome car, and the owner is just great, and he was willing to just do whatever it takes to make it a perfect car. So that's my favorite car. But I have a lot of favorite cars, but that one kind of rises to the top out of all of them.
Well, I mean,
So
what about like that you personally owned? You know,
so personally owned General Lou,
yeah.
that 68 Charger, the snow Charger. So that one, I had a blast in it. I would drive it to Walmart. I would drive it all winter long, and people were just calling me insane for driving
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know,
How could you do that to that car? Like,
oh, I know. And I'm like, well, watch this. And I go plowing through a snowdrift or something, or I took it down some mud roads. I take it on gravel. It
yeah,
was General Lou, which is, just like the Duke boys. So I
yeah,
beat the living daylights out of it. So that was really my favorite car. Um, so I'll never, I mean, it'll be just too expensive to get a car back like that. And now I have a Cornet RT, I have a Duster, I have a Challenger, I have a Belvedere, I have a GTX, and they're all nicer cars. So I
hmm,
probably won't be beating the living heck out of
I know
those.
that's I like my lunch break truck because it's a '72 D100 out of a field. That was a slant six truck. Like it will
Right.
never be worth $1 million. You know,
Right. So do you feel like you can just beat the crap out of it
Mhm.
or yeah.
It's enjoy like just jump in and go, man. And it's
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
So I was almost abusive with my charger. Like I didn't like ram it into things and tried to destroy it, but at the same time I did take it through some ditches, and
right.
I had a lot of fun with that car. So that's my favorite car. It'll be the only one like it. It's
Yeah.
actually, it lives in Texas now. Some
Oh
guy
wow.
drove up from Texas, and I don't know what happened to it. I could find out if I really cared about it, but
Right. But
so
they bought an extra crispy, rotted down Charger and brought to Texas where you can normally find rust free good stuff. That's
the thing about General Lou though is it was absolutely complete, like right down to the radio knobs and the center console. It was absolutely complete. Very rusty, but it ran and drove. And
hmm,
you've seen some of these other Dodge Chargers for sale where they're just rusted out shells with no seats or dash.
yep,
This had a fender tag, a dash, VIN tag, ran and drove. And
man.
so anyway, that was my
Well,
favorite car.
here's one from Dr. Go. I know my answer. If you had 250 to 300 horsepower street engine 318, would you recommend stainless or aluminum roller tip rockers that are shaft mount on the LA small block?
So I don't know.
I picked John Wilburn's answer. If it's 250 to 300 horsepower, just run stock rockers. I mean, it's, you know, uh,
Yeah. I mean, I
it,
built a stroker 340 with roller tip adjustable rockers from Hughes engines.
mhm,
But yeah, that sounds like stock would be plenty for that.
right. There's another one, Georgie Porgy. Hey, Mopar Joe and Keith. Just wondering, how can you tell a cam spec without a cam card? Examine lobe and separation specs? Question mark.
You just did a video on that very thing. I saw you do all the math on it.
Well, I had a piece of the card, so on that card, I'm like, well, where's the intake center line? And I'm looking and I'm like, wait a minute, like I configured this by the cam events, but I think he's saying if you just had a cam in front of you, somebody rolled in and said, or walked in to hand you a cam. Hey, Keith, what is this cam? It doesn't have any numbers on it. You know,
Yep. So basically, you would have to put it in the engine and rotate it and degree it and everything. Wouldn't that be the only way?
That would be the easiest way. I
Yeah.
mean, you could send it off. I've sent cams to Shane Polito at Comp before, and they just run it through their cam doctor and instantly print a sheet. The exact sheet of every spec on it.
Okay.
But I mean, also, I think you could quickly get lift just with a dial caliper. Measure base circle versus the actual lobe.
Yeah.
See how much that could give you.
Have you ever used any Racer Brown products?
I haven't. That's like the big. I've seen it all over Facebook, and the Racer Brown guys are diehard. Like my dad was an Isky guy. Anything Isky, that was top notch for him. But
Iskadarian, yeah. I see them old timey stickers on cars sometimes.
yeah, but they're still in business, and you can still buy. Like if someone said, "Hey, what's a good flat tappet cam and lifters I can buy that I think won't go flat?" I'll say Isky is one of my top choices, or Bullet, but they're twice the cost of a Comp or a Lunati or anything like that. Twisted Mopar, Dennis, he loves Racer Brown. It's all he's ran for years now. Let's see.
So Chris Stoner writes, Joe should go to the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. So if I don't know what your wintertime show stuff is like down there, but up in Chicago, right the weekend before Thanksgiving is the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. But kind of like what you were saying before is like if you have to go that far, it's a 2 or 3 day deal. You got to get a hotel room. You got to take time away from the kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, I got family that lives in Glen Ellen, Illinois up there. So at some point I need to go see John Cope, and I could go to that. That's one of those that we need to go up and see him anyway.
So you could almost kind of morph it into like a Thanksgiving vacation, because it's always the weekend right before Thanksgiving, no matter what the date is. It's always right then, so you can just plan on it. Say, I'm going to a muscle car event the weekend before Thanksgiving. You go there.
That's right. I'll tell them come to stay that weekend.
That's right. Yep. Get some room and board for free.
There he is, the great John of the Copery. He enjoys ketchup on his hot dogs. Did you realize that, Keith? John Cope of Cope Racing Transmissions.
No.
Oh yeah, he's a Chicago nut, and he the biggest Blues Brothers fan you ever met in the world.
Okay.
But he's all about these Chicago style hot dogs, and he did an in-depth deal telling about them. And I'll always come by at No Name Nationals, hand him a pack of ketchup for his hot dog.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm part of the Chicagoland Mopar Club, and there's a ton of Mopar guys up this way. So
there you go. There you go. And Big Mike from Big Mike's Hoopty Barn told me if I go to Mopars Invade at Mocan, I can crash there for the night if I can get up his driveway. Yeah, it's like a 60-degree slope that's not paved and doesn't have gravel on it. Hardly. It's made out of rocks, but there's no gravel on it.
So that's where you take your truck, where you can just hammer up that hill.
Perfect. That's it. Yeah, I can make it up at or halfway, and then he could pull me the rest of the way with the tractor.
So do you have a hauler that you haul your stuff around in, a big diesel or a box trailer, or what do you do?
No, I've got an old enclosed, I don't know, trailer probably from 2010 or so that my dad had left, but for the most part, I just pull an plain old black car hauler, behind my half-ton Hemi truck. So
right.
Keep it easy, get my 13 miles a gallon and push on.
Yeah.
It'll pull that enclosed, but it gets 6 or 7 then and really doesn't like it. So
yeah. So I got a big diesel truck with a box trailer, but I'm mostly hauling show cars, so I got to have a box trailer for that stuff. And so I pick up and deliver customer cars too.
Awesome.
So, So
Well, I
is your
don't.
shop right at your house?
So currently, I've got a couple different places I work. Um, my smaller engines in and stuff, work on my race car is right by my house. And it's just a little 24 by 30, 2-car garage. The other shop is at my parents' old place, and it's a lot larger. And I kind of do my dirty paint work and stuff there. If I'm grinding or painting or uh, pretty much anything nasty that I don't want on the nicer stuff, I try to do over there just because it's out in the middle of nowhere, and uh, it kind of works out better for me that way.
About yeah. So yeah, I see it's after 8 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah.
um, so I don't know.
Um,
We got a ton of people chiming in. So
it's true.
that's
You
great.
said so. You saw that, and 2 people left as soon as you said that. They thought we were going home.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to hold you up too late. I know we can always get back together and do this if you'd like. I mean, it's,
Nah, I'm good, man. So I appreciate the invite.
yes, sir.
So yeah, once again, like and subscribe. I try to put that in some of my TikTok and Instagram and Facebook videos. Go to my YouTube channel and like and subscribe. But
Yeah. If I got any moderators out there, look, there's Dave that came in. That I just built his 500 stroker, and he went to he just got it put in the car. That was my last dyno engine, and it was like 635 and 680 something on torque. Like, he's not gonna know what to do with himself. But if I had a moderator that could put Keith's channel up here somewhere, I would thank you, and Mopar bucks someday. Next time I see you. Somebody. I bet I could find it myself if I'm not too slow. YouTuber.
do you know this Roosters Restorations?
Yeah. He's a
Yep.
viewer of the channel for sure.
Yep. He asked about Hughes cams. I've used him a little bit. I don't have any opinions one way or the other. I had great luck with them. So, but Dave, he's getting up there in years, and I think he's kind of winding down. I don't know that their machine shop is even active anymore. So
Really?
I don't know if anyone else does business with Hughes engines over in Peoria, Illinois.
There we go. I'll get that off. Yeah, I've tried a couple times. Every time I call Hughes Engines, I'm on hold for an hour and a half, and
Yeah.
at some point I have to give up. I mean,
Right.
life
So
goes
I've
on.
actually made the trip over there a couple times because I had them do some machine work for me, and this was like 10 years ago, and Dave was up there in years, and so I don't know how things are over there, but always a great bunch of guys. But I heard from someone else that they were kind of trying to wind down, so I don't know. It might be a thing of the past. I don't know.
Well, I definitely hope they keep selling, parts of all Mopar parts they can, because it's a good resource,
Yeah.
But yeah, I got our link posted there. If y'all could check that out, see if I can highlight it somehow or another. I'll just pin it. How about that? Maybe, if I can figure it out. Never mind, I hit it. Show it. There you go. So that is Mopar Keith's channel. If y'all want to go check him out. And there's my buddy Ross. He says he heard Hughes gets her cams done from Bullet. So, but yeah, I better jump off. I think my Chariot's going to turn into a pumpkin at some point. So I hate to keep.
Sure, you don't have your kids banging at the door yet?
Not yet. They're wondering where I'm at, so I've hidden this long.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No, I get it. All my kids are all grown up and out of the house, so I don't have anything like that. So a lot of good years in front of you.
I can't wait, because they'll get old enough to be able to hold a piece of sandpaper. So that'll be good.
There you go. Put them to work.
I promise.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Hey, it's been a treat. I appreciate it. That hour went by like real fast. So I can see, like, when I watch Tom and Jamie, they do a 2-hour. I mean, it just goes fast. So I appreciate it. We'll do it again, man. So, and then anyone else out there, I don't know any other content creators that would want to do a live with me or whatever, but I'm open to that kind of stuff in the evenings. So,
Yes, sir.
you know,
Well, I know you're a wealth of knowledge, and I appreciate every time you answer the phone when I call. So thanks a lot for that.
I try. We're all learning. We'll never know everything.
Right.
So,
Well,
okay, man.
every day is a learning opportunity. So I appreciate you, Mr. Keith, and
All right,
thanks
man.
everybody for watching.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Thank y'all.